Multimedia Creations and Services would like to thank the Grand Chief Michael Ahrirhron Deslisle Jr. from Kahnawake to allow us to have this interview, which will be basically talking about Kateri Tekakwitha. This documentary, when completed, initially in the English language, will be available in print, booklet form, on CD, interactive CD, DVD, websites, YouTube. We want to share this great moment of history with as many people as we can. It is very special period in time to have this canonization coming up. So in about 5 months' time, October 21st exactly, Kateri Tekakwitha, a Mohawk maiden, will be canonized by the Roman Catholic Church. Mohawk saint, first in history. This orphaned and handicapped 24-year-old virgin will be raised at the highest altars of the Roman Catholic Church, meaning the almost 2 billion Catholics worldwide can call for help, for her intercession, for her prayer, since she is now very close to God. And she's open to everyone who calls for help. The first question to the Grand Chief Michael would be, how do you feel about this moment in time?
Well, I think it's a long time in coming, obviously, based on her history and the history of Kahnawake. I know that many of our people in this community and in the Mohawk community, the Mohawk Nation, are very pleased that the Catholic Church has finally looking to ascend her to her rightful place. And I have to be honest, I know that there are people within the community that feel differently because of our storied history, long and arduous sometimes with the Catholic Church, not just the mission itself, but the church in terms of history. So there are mixed feelings. But myself personally, I think it's a great thing. My father was Catholic, was born and raised in the church. Unfortunately, at this point, not practicing, but I believe for the Catholic community here in Kahnawake, for the Catholic community worldwide, it's a very good thing.
What were your reactions when you first heard about it?
Well, a little bit of a surprise, not really a shock, because I had followed this again, through. I've heard about it from being a child, through my childhood, hearing it through my father, my grandmother, and other people of influence in my life about Blessed Kateri Tekakwitha. Just, I guess, the time that it takes to, and the procedure it takes to get something like this to this level was, I guess, concerning, not only to me, but the entire community who had been following this. But once it was actually done and the date was announced, and this is a guarantee at this point, I think the entire community, should stand behind this and rally behind it. It's something exceptional.
You've heard of the beatification ceremonies in the 80s. Were you there at those?
No, I was a young teenage boy, not very interested. Obviously, like I said, unfortunately, not practicing maybe as much as some people would like, but understanding what it was. My grandmother, who was very Catholic, very religious, went to Saint Anne de Beaupré, went to the mission here, went to Brother Andrew's oratory as well in Montreal, and did travel to Rome. But myself, no, but there were members of my family who were there.
So, some of your members of your family went, you said, eh?
Yes, my grandmother and my aunt.
When they came back, what sort of reaction did they have?
Well, I remember my aunt and my grandmother saying that when you see the Pope on TV, when you see these types of people in these positions, you view them differently than when you see them in person. And my grandmother actually got to touch the Pope and said his skin is soft like a baby's. So I guess they're well taken care of, if you could say. And they just had the impression that something better was to come. They really believed that once beatification happened, the sainthood would come at some point in time. They were true believers.
Do you intend to go to Rome for the canonization?
We're still thinking about it, myself and my family. we're coming up on election, July 7th. If I'm still the Grand Chief on the evening of July 7th or the morning of July 8th, more than likely we've secured 2 places for Chief and Council to travel. I think it's appropriate that different forms of leadership do go to give the type of gratification that this deserves and the type of responsibility that the chief would hold here in the community. I think it would be appropriate to go, but my family still hasn't decided. If I'm here after July, then we'll see.
It appears, and it's I think almost set, that on November 4th in the St. Joseph's Oratory there will be massive celebrations there. I guess that will be a time where maybe all the Mohawk communities and more will be invited to be there. What do you think of that? Well,
I'm sure there'll be many people that will make the pilgrimage to the oratory from around the world. I'm sure people from here in Kahnawake definitely will go, given that it's only 20 minutes away across the bridge, if it's still standing, but across the river, so to speak. I'm hopeful that that pilgrimage from around the world will also spill over here into Kahnawake as well. But I think that it's being recognized through the oratory, through the Catholic Church, again, is a good thing.
Is Kahnawake ready for an influx of pilgrims when they really rally up on the idea that yes, it's happening and the church is there, we could see it on the other side of the St. Lawrence, let's go by buses and buses and buses?
I would like to say yes, to be completely honest. I don't think we're prepared today. Given that we're 5 months away. There is a church committee that's working on that. I've yet to meet with the principal, Mike Dybel. We had to cancel, unfortunately, once, but we will get coordinated. We normally rally around events such as this, and unfortunately we thrive in the face of a impending date. So I'm sure we will be prepared to as much degree as we are physically capable of by November, but we're hoping and welcoming everyone who will come.
Look, I know the signage is a little bit of a problem. A lot of friends don't know how to get here because once you're on Mercier, that's it. You know, it says Kahnawake, and then you're pretty well on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Even the 2 signs that are there, I think they're in French, and a lot of the pilgrims will be, I think, predominantly English.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe these are the things, some of the things that will be looked at.
Well, once they get to Kahnawake, once they get to this side of the river, I'm sure there'll be signages to ensure in any language that you are in Kahnawake territory, number 1, and number 2, directions to get to St. Francis Xavier Mission, where Blessed Kateri is, and from there, I mean, we'll accommodate as best as we can the date in November, but directions won't be a problem. It's mostly about accommodation.
And I think the bus spaces for pilgrims buses, right now, it's just across the church. I think there is some space, but
not very much. Like I said, and as much as physically as possible, we will accommodate. There is a larger parking area across the street that's normally utilized for education staff. We'll have to make some type of accommodations either through the help of the education system, maybe the Legion Hall, which is not a long walk from here as well, also has parking accommodations. Yeah. There are some open green spaces. The Golden Age Club as well comes to mind. There are various parking areas, including the Mohawk Council here, who could be made available depending on the types of accommodations that are asked of us.
Will there be a sort of a public exhibit in her honor at the community level, physically visible outside, or?
Again, the best people to ask, and I haven't unfortunately had an opportunity to meet with Mike Dybel, but I'm hopeful that that's the type of work that they're doing, and it's ongoing now, so I'm sure that it would be required by and liked by a lot of the pilgrimages who would come to Kahnawake to see some type of physical presence here other than the actual mission itself. But again, I'm sure it's up to the committee at this point in terms of doing some of that work.
You may have answered this question earlier, but for the viewing public, what would you like to tell them about the fact that there will be a Mohawk saint?
Well, again, based on my family history, the history of Kahnawake, the long history of Blessed Kateri Tekakwitha, I think this is a long time in coming. It's a great event. It's going to be a great event once she is canonized, and then once the pilgrimages start to come. I think it puts Kahnawake back on the map, albeit at this point a Catholic map, but we're hoping to host as many people that we can physically accommodate here in the community. We understand and appreciate the significance of this event, and we're very appreciative at this point the recognition that the Catholic Church has given to Kateri Tekakwitha.
Will it change the relationships between yourselves and the rest?
Hard to say. I wouldn't venture to try and answer that at this point. We'll have to see. Like I said, it's a long storied history, sometimes turbulent, depending on what point in history you look at. But the mission has been here for a long time. The Francis Xavier Church is a monument here in the community. There's a large portion of our community that is Catholic as well, and they'll have to bear the cross, as it will be, to ensure that those types of connections and communications and possibly partnerships develop after that.
I leave the final word to you. I'm done with the questions.
Well, again, I just think this is a great event, not only for the community of Kahnawake, but for the ancestors of Kateri Tekakwitha, Kateri Tekakwitha herself, and to be recognized by the Catholic Church once and for all, and to be the first Mohawk saint. Don't know if there'll be another one. Should be viewed as a great event in our community.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.